Hey there, my name is Shane Craddock, and this is the Inner Edge podcast, where I share a different take on how to lead and live a sustainable, high-performance life. Over the course of different episodes, I'm going to challenge the belief that tension, stress, and struggle are essential to success and creativity. My experience is that there's an easier way, there's a better way, and indeed there's an essential way that we need to explore for the times that we live in. So let's go ahead, let's jump in and explore. Hello there, and welcome to today's episode, which is coming 100% into the moment. And I hope even as I say that you are coming 100% into the moment. It's kind of funny even saying that out loud because it's such a topical thing, which is we're going to explore maybe one or two angles on it today. But increasingly, I think people are starting to realize the value of coming into the moment, but at the same time, perhaps finding it more difficult than ever. And I'm going to share one or two angles on it. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, maybe with this episode, allow yourself the gift of not doing something else while you're listening to this particular episode. Will probably illustrate the point. So if you're, I don't mind so much if you're walking, but certainly if you're exercising or half reading something else, or I don't know, whatever way you're doing it, certainly if you're walking or driving, this episode, will probably help you come 100% more into the moment. But come more into the moment with me now. It's funny, can you do that, or does it cause stress? That used to cause me a lot of stress. Before I get into today's episode anyway, I just want to flag to you, I haven't mentioned it yet on the podcast, but at the moment there's a free book offer running, no catches. If you've been following the podcast for a while, I've been working on a book over the last while. It's coming out this autumn in October 2023, which I'm very excited about. It's a long time coming, a lot of work on into it. So just as a bit of fun for the next few weeks, recording this is coming out obviously in early July. My previous book, Inspire Me, which continues to always amaze me with where it ends up on the planet. I'm giving away that for free no matter where you are in the world. So it's a link in the show notes. If you don't have the book, maybe you can get it for free. All I ask is that you pay the shipping. Or maybe if you do have it, maybe somebody else would like a copy, and maybe I'm happy to send it to you and you can send it to them or give it to them. So that's that. So coming into the moment, there are people like Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of Now, which was an incredibly massive bestseller. Oprah Winfrey would have helped to launch him on the global stage. Mindfulness, meditation, all of these kind of areas or movements or topics or areas of interest or even habits, whatever you want to call them, they're really growing traction over the last few years, which is good. Now, on one level, for things like meditation and mindfulness, I see them perhaps more like aspirin in terms of that they remove an irritation or a pain. They don't necessarily always get to the root cause. And that's perhaps what I want to look towards today and see, does what I share with you spark any insight with you? Does it perhaps throw up something, or maybe you see something about yourself that you hadn't fully realized was there or that you were doing, or maybe you didn't value it? And I think one of the key points I want to share today is that being fully in the moment brings your full potential to the fore. So whatever potential you have, when you're relaxed in the moment, relaxed mentally and in the moment, your potential, whatever you have, comes to the fore. And that has a huge impact on your performance in any context, whether it's in business or sport, or even simple things like just enjoying a walk, or even relationships. So on one level, if you say to somebody, well, be in the moment, I mean, it's most people, certainly for me anyway, when I first heard that, it was very confusing. Like, what do you mean be in the moment? Am I not already in the moment? Like, I'm here. So on one level, you could say, well, where else are you? I mean, we're standing in front of each other, or, if we're talking or meeting, where else are you? But if you reflect on that just a little bit, what you'll, I think, see as the universal truth for most people is that you can be in a room with people, you can be in a conversation on the phone, you can even be listening to this podcast. And one moment you're in the moment, and another moment you're gone. So where are you gone? You're gone into your head. You're gone into your thinking. You're distracted by your thinking. So paying attention to your thinking actually takes you out of the moment, is my experience. It's not just my experience. I know there's lots of people that I would have learned from or would talk to, and that's their experience. And on a very simple level, it could be just, I've heard this from so many people, I've done it myself, where you talk to somebody and they're talking away and they say something and your mind gets distracted because of what they said. And for the next 2 minutes, you don't hear a word they say. You're just gone off into your own internal dialogue. I think that's most meetings in life anyway. I always joke with my clients in a business context that, there's 6 people in the meeting with them and they think that they're fully there with them. They're not. Most people are flipping in and out of the moment, which means that their attention's gone into their thinking, which means it's not with you, which means it's not in the conversation. And the bottom line is, I've swallowed the Kool-Aid on this. It's not even a belief, it's just a knowing. When I'm present, I do everything better. When you're present, when you're in the moment, you do everything better. Your work is better, meetings, your communication is radically better, sport, definitely better, relationships are better. Being more in the moment is better for your health because it's less stressful, has a massive effect even on your physiology, your tone of voice, how you sound, how you come across, your facial expressions, your energy. There's a lot to be said for being in the moment. So as you can see, I've swallowed the Kool-Aid, but I'm guessing maybe you're kind of there as well, because otherwise, why would you be listening to this podcast? And I think the possibilities are massive. And certainly with the advent of the incredible busyness that's been generated through technology, social media, and the incredible disruption that's going to come with AI, with that's going to come opportunity. But if you think about the people who are going to see the opportunity are people with clarity. And to me, clarity is a symptom of being in the moment. Now, there's no doubt about it that there are some things that are easier to do for people. That it's easier for you to be in the moment doing certain things. And that varies from person to person. So, for example, some people say, well, I'm going to run. That doesn't work for me, but walking works for me. Helps clear my mind. Be in nature. Well, it clears my mind. I'm in the moment. Maybe I talk to a really good friend. That clears my mind. I'm in the moment. Maybe I have a drink. This is one of the reasons I think why a lot of people turn to the negative way of taking yourself into the moment in the short term, things like drugs, alcohol, etc. The problem is that there's negative consequences to those behaviors. There's healthy ways to bring yourself into the moment. Like I said, things like exercise, meditation for some people works, but for others it doesn't. Mindfulness is something that really works for people, but for others they get turned off the word or turned off the habits. It just doesn't work for them. I think if you look at your life, you'll see certain things that you kind of gravitate towards. For example, for me, even training in the gym is something that I find takes me into the moment. But what I'm more curious about is the dynamics of what's happening inside yourself. This is the inner edge after all. Inside yourself, when you're doing those exercises or activities. I know one guy that he swears to me, and I really am curious about this because it makes sense, is that he goes into the moment most when he's playing with his Lego. When he's an adult, so he uses adult Lego. But what's happening there is that for him specifically, he's distracting his mind out of his thinking. He's not thinking about his business. He's not thinking about his clients. He's not thinking about his customers. He's not thinking about his relationships. He's not thinking about his children. He's not thinking about the future or the past. He's just there in the moment. And that's the bit that I find fascinating, because it's true, is that what knocks you out of the moment, like our default, as far as I can see, is to be in the moment as humans. But what knocks us out of that is thought. Thought knocks you out. Now, for me, as you probably know, I shared early on the podcast series, at the very start, that I had a very serious case of depression in my mid-20s. I'm not, unfortunately, in my mid-20s now. But when I was depressed, if you'd said to me, be in the now, it just was impossible. I had too much inner interference. I had too much negative inner pollution. But when I started to get a taste that, maybe there's something here that would help, even on an aspirin level, like that was very attractive. My approach was, I think, what I would call the conventional approach, was I used to put a lot of effort into it, managing myself, trying to force myself to be in the moment. To be honest with you, that caused more stress. And worse, again, it was exhausting. Trying to just be in the moment, Shane, be in the moment, Shane. I look back at that time as maybe an experiment. Certainly, there was days where it helped, other days where maybe it caused more of a problem because I was getting annoyed at myself because I couldn't be in the moment, which is another problem. But that's also getting distracted by your thinking. So now, if you say to me, I see it more as, look, my natural state is to be in the moment. If I don't get caught up with my thinking, and most of my thinking is really not worth the effort of paying attention to it. So now I just see it more as relaxing my mind. I just, the best technique of all is to find whatever relaxes your mind in a healthy way. So for you, that could be walking, as I say, running, exercise, whatever, even, dare I say, watching Netflix at times. But to build more of those habits into your day, if I say to somebody, how do you calm your mind? You probably have an answer to that on some level. And certainly you can cultivate more habits during your day, even to take what I would call a 5-minute breathing break. Just step outside, just focus on your breath. Takes your attention out of your thinking. And then by default, with no effort, you go into the moment, back into the moment. What used to block me was I'd be doing something like breathing or mindfulness or meditation. And halfway through whatever I was doing, my inner voice would go, am I doing it right? Thereby taking me out of the moment. Or looking for something, like, was something special supposed to happen here? No, you're just relaxing your mind. And we've all had the experience of a relaxed mind. So what does that feel like for you? Maybe it's when you're absorbed in a book that you're really enjoying and you're not really thinking about anything. Time passes by so quickly. Maybe you're on a beach, maybe you're on a holiday. There was a moment where you just caught something that was beautiful in nature. Can you remember the last time that your mind just cleared? Certainly the modern world seems to cultivate and condition us to be busy, to overanalyze, to think all the time. It's relentless. Also, the way we manage technology doesn't help. Stress knocks you out. What is stress? It's just paying attention to stressful thinking. So attention is a key variable here. Like, where am I going to put my attention? I have a choice. I learned that with my depression, that I remember one day thinking, I don't have to pay attention to that thought that's upsetting me or annoying me or niggling me. I can actually just ignore that. Does it take practice? Yeah, it does. It takes practice. But is it possible? 100%. So I remember as well, a mentor of mine was having a few meetings with a new client, and I was invited to observe them in action. And what was interesting was, afterwards, I was talking to the mentor, and I was just curious. In the very first session, the person was all over the place. And I was curious as to how my mentor was managing themselves. And they just said something to me that really struck a chord. They just said that their mind was throwing up all sorts of opinions about the person. Things that they didn't like or liked, or just judgments. But they just wouldn't let themselves go into that thinking. They wanted to stay in the moment. And if you talk to anybody who's brilliant at what they do, in any context, you'll always find that they do a version of that. They just have this ability. They've trained themselves, sometimes unconsciously, to not get distracted by unhelpful thoughts. They stay in the moment, thereby doing what they're actually doing, not thinking about their doing. And maybe another simple way to say it is, sometimes you just have to make friends with the present moment, even if your mind doesn't like it. Maybe there's aspects of your life or your world right now that you don't like, and accepting it, making friends with it, really, really helps calm the mind down. So, a couple of questions for you. When are the times you're naturally in the moment? Could be, exercise, friends, nature. What is it? Maybe you can cultivate it more. Maybe you need to do more of it. And think about what's going on inside you at those times. My guess is that you'll see that you're not distracted by your thinking. You're not caught up with it. You're not paying attention to it. And I'm going to give you a little challenge if you're up for it. I'm going to call it, I'm making this up on the spot, I'm going to call it This Moment Challenge. And this moment challenge is for today. That whatever you're doing, whether you're writing up a plan in business or a strategy, or maybe you're planning a trip, or maybe you're just putting away the dishes, maybe you're cleaning the table, can you challenge yourself to just do that and be in the present moment with it, even with stuff that's just mundane? This isn't about just going off on a retreat or being on the mountaintop and achieving it. This is stuff to bring into your day-to-day life because it's so, so valuable. And like, what's more important, the doing or the results you want to achieve through the doing? That's a question worth pondering for sure. And what's more important, this moment or a future moment or a past moment? For me, obviously, you know the answer. So instead of trying to pay attention to the moment, maybe pay attention to your thinking and just let it go and just do what you're doing. See if that makes sense. Try it out. That's it for this week. Ciao for now.